Help us help you.
Well, this comes as the European Union is now taking its own countermeasures against President Trump's trade moves. The European Commission president says the United States is, quote, applying tariffs worth $28 billion. We are responding with countermeasures worth 26 billion euros, and that is about $28 billion. This after the Trump administration raised tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports to 25%. The Commission manages trade and commercial conflicts on behalf of the 27 member countries. Von der Leyen says the EU will always remain open to negotiation.
Let's take a look at Wall Street after some pretty tumultuous days recently, and you can see the Dow Jones Industrial Average is actually in positive territory, up 29 points right now. We're still only at 41,460, and just to give you some perspective, at one point, just about a week ago, a week and a half, we were at 44,000, and so we've had some pretty down days as investors have been concerned, not just about the tariffs, but other things that are going on right now around this country and the world. And inflation, by the way, has actually, in the U.S., has cooled off for the first time in 4 months. The Consumer Price Index was 2.8% for the year-long period that ended in February. That's down from 3% in January. Economists say lower gas and grocery prices were major factors that help bring down inflation. So things could be turning around.
Well,
could be.
All right, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Ireland after wrapping up his time in Saudi Arabia. U.S. arms deliveries to Ukraine resumed today, the day after Ukrainian officials signaled open to a 30-day ceasefire back to Washington.
Secretary Rubio says that they are bringing the proposal to Russia.
If their response is yes, then we know we've made real progress and there's a real chance of peace. If their response is no, it would make their intentions clear.
Now it is up to Russian President Vladimir Putin to respond.
Richard Engel reports from eastern Ukraine.
It has been a week of head-snapping changes here in Ukraine. First, the Ukrainians were cut off by President Trump. He cut off intelligence sharing with Ukraine, which is vital. Ukraine depends on American intelligence to help target Russian forces, but also to defend against incoming Russian attacks. And the U.S. cut off military aid to this country, which is also vital for the security of the Ukrainian territory and of the Ukrainian people. But then, overnight, in a major diplomatic initiative, Ukraine accepted unilaterally, for now, a U.S. proposal to have a 30-day complete ceasefire on the condition that Russia also accepts the terms. Ukraine's President Zelensky came out publicly. He said, as soon as the Russians accept it, we will stop everything. All military offensives on the air, in the front lines, and in the Black. What this does diplomatically is it changes the script. It was just a few days ago when President Zelensky was in the Oval Office being berated by Vice President Vance and President Trump, who accused him of not only being unappreciative of American help, but of not being serious about peace. He's clearly said that he's willing to now step up, engage in the ceasefire, stop the guns, and engage in long-term negotiations. We will see if Vladimir Putin does the same. So far, the Kremlin has said that Putin will not respond to this until Russia hears more from the Americans. President Trump is expected to speak with President Putin soon. Richard Engel, NBC News, Mykolaiv, Ukraine.
In the